drivers on the racetrack, and they are doing whatever they can to build heat into these Cooper tires, swerving back and forth, trying to develop the friction they need to get these tires up to optimum temperature. And the thing about the Coopers, are so consistent throughout the entire run. It will take a couple of laps for them to go and get up to the optimal temperature that will actually give them the kind of grip these drivers need to push hard. We're going to go green this time by, folks. Pace car already works his way into pit lane. We challenge these young drivers on road courses, ovals, and permanent road courses as well. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to challenge them in unbelievably cool temperatures. 46 degrees, 71 track temperature. Pato Award and Aaron Teals on the front row. Turn 1 is going to be sketchy. The grip will be very minimal as they try to work their way through turn number 1. As we get set to go for this event here for Pro Mazda, a 40-minute race scheduled to go, and we are underway. Tom Hansing throws it, and we are green, green, green. The two Pelfrey cars, those yellow and black cars, right down on the wall as they work their way into turn number 1. You don't want to open up that gap to let anybody dive through the inside. Let's see what happens coming through. No one into the grass at this point here. Teelitz trying to go to the outside of Pato. Teelitz trying to find his way around O'Ward, but right there is Grist as well in the Lander Properties number 5. Good battle up front here in Pro Mazda. And Kevin Lee, got to give these guys props for getting through turns 1, 2, and 3 cleanly.
And they got through cleanly, but there still was a challenge. Teelitz took a look and almost got all the way up side by side. Here we come into turn number 7. Let's see if somebody takes a look there. And we're going to see a pass for second place there. And Teelitz lost the spot, right?
He did. I'm not sure if that was either Will Owen. I think it might be Will Owen who was able to go by. Remember, he started in that 3rd position inside of row number 2 and takes advantage of that with a good move to get to the outside of Teelitz coming into turn number 7, the end of the Holman Boulevard there. Pato Hort locks it up, coming back into the infield section of the racetrack. So Pato pushing very hard. He's looking to try to duplicate what he did yesterday, and that was absolute and total dominance. Able to pull away from the field half a second quicker for a majority of the race, and he ended up winning by over 7 seconds, actually just under 7 seconds as he kind of slowed up the final lap. 6.8 seconds, I believe, the victory yesterday as Pato wins again. He is your leader now, 1.5 seconds. And you know, Kevin, that's one thing we talk about, whether it's coming through karting or any of the younger ranks or the lower ranks in open wheel racing. It's how good are you on cold tires? How good can you be coming out of the box? How fast can you be?
And another battle for position. It looks like Nicholas DePero is trying to make a move on Grist for 4th. That was Will Owen that was in 3rd. There are 3 Juncos cars, all green and white, and Owen is still challenging Teelitz for 2nd position and looking to make a move in turn number 7. Up front, it's still Pato Award. Aaron Teelitz now is dealing with Will Owen right behind him for 2nd position. And the racing has been entertaining in the early moments of this Pro Mazda race. While Pato Award pulls away just a bit, Aaron Teelitz is being challenged by Will Owen for 2nd position. And further back, more changes. DePero did move up a spot to get to 5th last time by. Across the yard of bricks, it's Award, then it's Teelitz, then it's Owen, then it's the 31 of DePero now in 4th position, and Jake Parsons has moved up to 5th, so Garrett Grist has fallen back to 6th position, followed by Nico Jameen, Jake Edson, and Bobby Eberle running in 9th. Rounding out the top 10 is Bob Kaminsky, the 2nd of the national class drivers.
Really good inter-team battle here as well. The Juncos pilots, Garrett Grist and Jake Parsons, 5th and 6th. Nico Jamin trying to challenge them from 7th. But I'm going to give props to Nicholas DePero right now. His best run of the year as he's now up into the 4th position and 4th comfortably now, trying to close up here on Will Owen, his veteran teammate. Again, Will Owen, been in the Mazda Road Indy for a couple of years now, 2 years in USF 2000, now in his 2nd year in the Pro Mazda category. Really transitioned well to Pro Mazda last year, and he was actually a winner here. He stood on top of the podium here at Indianapolis at the Grand Prix before, using some great strategy when we went from wet to dry. He was able to score the victory and again, get himself up on the podium. So he likes this racetrack, and right now Will Owen up there into third position, just ahead of DeParo, Parsons, and Grist. So the Juncos drivers third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. But it's all Team Pelfrey up front right now as Award and Telitz run 1-2.
Pato Award is in a zone this season. He's won 4 of 5, and he's basically driving for his career every single race. He's been on a race-by-race basis, so these performances are helping him continue. This is a championship contending car, obviously, and a young man that if the funding comes through has an opportunity to get scholarship money to move up next year to Indy Lights. What a great story.
And that's interesting. We talked about it earlier. He started the season off having just the first 2 races, actually the budget for the first 2. He was going to run St. Petersburg, and they were confirmed to run Barber Motorsports Park. They weren't sure if they had the money or had the funding, the sponsorship they needed to be able to run here into the month of May. Luckily, he leaves the first 2 races, the first 2 doubleheader weekends with 3 wins and the point lead. I'd have to think that may have been a little easier in terms of trying to find some funding, whether it be from the team sponsors or from any other new sponsors as well. So as he continues to lead the points, a big win yesterday. You know, Kevin, I talked to a couple guys last night in the media, and we're starting to think, is this going to be a year like we had a couple years ago when Matthew Brabham absolutely dominated Pro Mazda? He essentially won almost every race of the year. Could that happen again? Could we see Pato just step up and have the momentum and have the confidence and have the race car? This is the same car Santi Ruzzier drove last year. It's got championship pedigree in that number 80.
And we've seen that several times over the last decade. Someone just running away with the Pro Mazda championship. Jack Hawksworth had a dominant season. Spencer Pigot had a pretty dominant season, going back to Connor Daly.
Yep.
Connor Daly at one point had the record for wins in the season.
Pato Award now leading by 3.7 seconds. He's a half a second quicker than his teammate Telitz every time back by the stripe. But wow, what a battle we have right now. DeParo, Grist, and Jamin. Look at that fight up on the big screen. 5 drivers going at it. DeParo, Grist, Jamin, I believe Parsons, and Edson, I think, in the hunt now there in the number 3.
4th through 8th separated by basically 5 car lengths, just barely spread apart as they head into turn number 7. Up front, Pato Award has stretched his lead to almost 4 seconds on his teammate Aaron Telitz. Another 1.5 seconds back to Will Owen. And then the best battle on the track now is for 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. DeParo, Grist, Jamin, and Parsons, and also Jake Edson.
I like this battle further back. Of course, we're just seeing a carbon copy of what we saw yesterday in terms of Pato Award dominating the proceedings here. He is just rolling on momentum. 123.8 last time by. Let's see this time by 123.5. New fast lap. He does a 23.5, and Telitz a 24 flat. A half a second quicker. Wow. Good run here for Garrett Grist in the number 5. He's been able to get by DeParo, so Garrett Grist now up into the 4th position. And for Grist, he just needs to try to get the best points he possibly can. He does not want to see Pato Award pull away that much in the points. He's got to do whatever he can because Grist really was the most dominant driver in the second half of the season last year, Kevin. He was very good last year. Trying to do it again this year, but again, just has not had the start he needed, especially with Team Pelfrey coming out of the gate as strongly as they did.
Grist came into the weekend 3rd in the championship, quite a ways back from the Pelfrey drivers. Award and Telitz were separated by just 3 points coming in, and Award stretched that lead even more with Telitz finishing a little further back in the pack, just finishing 7th yesterday. Grist with 4th also loses some ground in the championship battle, but it's really tight from 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th on with Grist, Jamin, Edson. Will Owen was within range, 7th in the championship. Unless we get a caution, nobody's going to have anything for Pato Award today.
Already got things kicked off at the Mazda Road to Indy with a warm-up session for Indy Lights, a very important one this morning at the 9:45, giving those drivers an opportunity to see what their cars would drive like in these very unique conditions, 46 degrees this morning for that session as well. Those Indy Lights drivers are going to have an autograph session at 11:30 this morning in East Chalet in front of the Pagoda. So if you'd like to meet the Indy Lights drivers, the drivers that are just one step away from the Verizon IndyCar Series, they will be available for an autograph session at 11:30. So again, Kevin, the temperature has not changed really over the last hour and a bit. Still 46 degrees. Track temperature just 64 degrees. That's challenging these kids, I'll tell you.
And really the key is going to be if the sun peeks through.
True.
It's not going to warm up a lot today. I think they're thinking a high 55, 56, 57. But if it stays overcast like this and windy, it's still going to feel very cool. But if the sun were to peek through like it did early this morning around 9 o'clock, then that will significantly raise the track temperature. The track temperature is the one that matters the most, and it's only 65 degrees right now. For example, often in the month of May, we see it up over 120. So we're talking half of the track temperature. So it's certainly it's challenging, but mostly it's just different from yesterday. So everything that they've learned in the first couple of days doesn't totally apply to what they're doing today.
You know, I had a chance to talk to Ricardo Juncos, who we had up on the big screen with an interview earlier, and I asked him, I said, is there anything you can possibly learn from the fact that you had your Indy Lights cars on the racetrack earlier? Can you transition anything into the cars of Pro Mazda? And he said, really, no. There's just so entirely different race cars. There's so much horsepower in the Indy Lights car, 450 horsepower versus the 280 horsepower that we have in these Mazda rotary power plants for Pro Mazda. One thing he did say as well, he says, really, we can't do much because right now all we're trying to do is see what we can do to challenge Team Pelfrey. So at this point, we have our cars trimmed out completely, trying to get as much top speed as we can on the straightaways and then try to dial some mechanical grip in to make them stick in the corners still. So Pelfrey obviously making people change the way they're approaching the days and the chassis setup here because Pelfrey just so strong. These guys are just doing whatever they can to kind of keep up pace.
Seven laps complete in this Pro Mazda event. And Pato O'Ward has stretched his advantage to 4.5 seconds on Aaron Telitz, who is now running all alone in second position. Will Owen also by his lonesome, another 3+ seconds back as O'Ward crosses the yard of bricks, completing lap number 8. Now Telitz.
Looking back a little further, Kevin, I want to say that Nico Jamin may have been able to slip by DePero. No, not quite yet. Nicholas DePero still holding off the reigning USF 2000 champion. And while the front 2-3 drivers have kind of checked out, that battle further back, DePero, Jamin, Parsons, and Edson, they're really only separated by about a second. Good fight there for the final positions inside the top 5, and I know that Nicholas DePero would love to have a solid finish like this. He's got at least one of his teammates behind him right now, and when you're talking inter-team battles, you kind of want to keep that pecking order. Remember, Jake Parsons was on the podium yesterday in the 0-0. He's now back in 7th, the 4th driver of the Juncos pilots.
And DePero has not finished better than 7th so far this season, 8th yesterday. So an opportunity at the podium, and especially at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, would be huge for this young driver.
4.3 seconds, the lead for Pato O'Ward as time just kind of chicken away here. We've got 12.5 minutes done, 27.5 to go. 23.8 last time by for O'Ward because Telitz actually finally getting up to speed. 23.6 for him, a 123.6, so a little quicker last time by for Telitz. But that lead already massive. And you want to wonder kind of what's going through Aaron Telitz's head. He came into the program here as a rookie, wants to do the best he can, was able to come out of the box and score a race win at St. Petersburg and thinking, hey, maybe I got a chance to win the championship here in my rookie year of Pro Mazda. But then his teammate Pato O'Ward steps up and has just been so dominant. He won both races at Barber Motorsports Park and is poised to do the same thing here on the road course at Indianapolis. And it kind of harkens back to last year and how Aaron Telitz had to play essentially second fiddle to Nico Jamin in the USF 2000 program. They were both teammates at Cave Motorsports with Wayne Taylor Racing. Aaron was able to get a race win, but it was Nico who was able to go on that run near the end of the year and score the championship. But again, Telitz, a rookie in the season, in the series, this Pro Mazda championship. It's all about learning in your first year. It's your second year when you really focus on going to the championship, just like Pato O'Ward is doing right now.
And I'm sure Telitz is frustrated seeing his teammate and seeing someone else win 4 of the first 5 races. This would be 5 of 6 if it continues, but he's still very much within range in the championship. He's only one bad result from O'Ward and a win from retaking the lead. Coming into the weekend, despite the fact that Award had won 3 of 4, it was only a 3-point advantage because Telitz has been there right with him with a win and 3 runners up. He did lose a little bit of ground, as mentioned, with the result yesterday finishing 7th, but he can still score good points today. Second is not an awful position for him today with much of the season still to come.
And Aaron's done a good job in terms of getting those other couple of points. Oh, here's a battle here coming up the front straightaway. Nicholas DePero going to lose a position here, I believe, to Edson. They're side by side all the way down the long straightaway here at Indianapolis, heading into turn 1. Let's see if DePero can hold him off. I don't think so. No, Edson with the inside, and he'll take the position. You can book that one as he's through. But again, look at DePero trying to come back. This young driver does not want to give it up. He's going to fall down to 8th position. I think he might have made a mistake on the racetrack. We didn't see it, Kevin.
He must have. He was running 5th.
Yeah, because Parsons was able to get by, as was Edson as well. So probably dropped the wheel somewhere. Everybody slipped through. And really, when it comes to a series this competitive, sometimes that's all it takes, Kevin. You want one little mistake, and you find yourself from top 5 back into 8th position.
Well, road course racing is so much about being patient and just clicking off lap after lap. And if you're chasing someone, you're trying to force them into a mistake. Yes, we think about turning fast laps, but it's also about consistency. You can turn around the fast laps, but if you go off and you lose a second, that's several positions.
Very true. And you saw that with Nicholas DePero. He had a good run going in 5th. He has now fallen back to 8th position. Right on the rear wing of Edson still, as he's going to try to see if he can't get himself back up there. It's not like he doesn't have the speed. He showed very well at the start of this race and was able to get himself into the 5th position. Grist now runs 4th, Jamin in 5th, Parsons in 6th, Edson 7th, DePero 8th. And again, looking at the drivers up front, 123 4s. Very consistent, both first and second. Award and Telitz, virtually identical lap times, 1 minute 23.4 seconds. A 4.31 for Award, a 4.14 for Telitz. Just a little bit quicker, but again, on those cold tire laps, those opening 5 laps, Pato Award, the young Mexican-American driver, impressive. Able to pull over 3 seconds at that point. Is just kind of inching away. 4.4 seconds now the advantage for Pato Award. And again, we talk about the fact that he re-signed with Team Pelfrey for the month of May, so he'll run here at the Grand Prix of Indianapolis, and he'll also run the Freedom 90, the Carbonite Classic on the 5/8 of a mile oval at Lucas Oil Raceway. Those events are locked and loaded, but he is not yet confirmed for Road America, Iowa, Toronto. Still more events for Pato to try to find the funding he needs to continue this hunt for the championship. And, you know, Kevin, we talk about the fact that USF 2000 drivers win the scholarship to run in Pro Mazda. The Pro Mazda drivers win that scholarship to run in the Indy Lights program worth over $750,000. That is a big ticket item to be able to win and really secure what you're going to be able to do in 2017.
And then you really feel like you're on the brink of IndyCar, especially with the program that they started last year, where I think it was 7 different drivers in Indy Lights last year had the chance to test at Sonoma late in the season in an IndyCar for the likes of Team Penske and Target Chip Ganassi and Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. The seats now transfer over in the new Indy Lights car,
Very true,
so you don't have to have a new seat fit. So it's a minor thing, but it's a little bit of cost saving, and it makes it simpler for IndyCar teams to throw somebody in there for a day. The benefit for the IndyCar teams is not only evaluating talent, but then their primary driver gets half the test day to learn the track or to set up the car the way they would like for that track.
And, of course, Sonoma, the finale of the series, so obviously very important to be able to get as much knowledge as you can from the racetrack. But it is really an incredible opportunity for the drivers of our Indy Lights program to get a chance to get behind the wheel. Not just a one-off kind of thing. It's a half a day of getting in the car and really getting at it, which is important. And it sets up for the impressions we've seen so far. Spencer Pickett being able to come out of the box so well at St. Petersburg. And some of the other drivers that were able to get a chance to run. Ed Jones. You know Ed is very close to making that move to the Verizon IndyCar Series. He's one of the primary challengers after a win yesterday, his second win of the year in the Indy Lights program. And just to be able to get a chance to drive those cars, I think is just such a key component to the entire Mazda road to Indy. Pato Award still leading by 4.8 seconds as he resets fast lap of the race again, a 123.25 for Pato. So an impressive run. Also have to look at the lap times as well. Even though it's unbelievably cold, 47 degrees with a 65-degree track temperature, Kevin, the engines, these Mazda engines love the cool temperatures, and we're actually quicker now than we were yesterday afternoon in the high heat for that main event. They were doing 124s yesterday, and we are now down to 123.2s. And again, track temperature, down to 65 degrees, but these engines just absolutely love the cooler temperatures. They can really crank out a lot of horsepower.
And certainly Pato O'Ward is doing that. He and Aaron Telitz are running a different race now. And Telitz's advantage over third place, Will Owen, has continued to increase. It's more than 7 seconds. So Telitz has now been running similar lap times to the leader, O'Ward. It got up over 4 seconds and has stalled there. And O'Ward is settling in at this point with that comfortable lead of almost 5 seconds.
You know, it's interesting, Kevin. I've been able to watch Pato come through the ranks as one of the top young go-kart racers in North America, won a lot of big races, working his way up the ranks. When he was able to make the jump into Pro Mazda last year, it was interesting for me to watch how he kind of developed and matured throughout the season. And we see that a lot with all the rookies. They come in with a lot of aggression, maybe a little erratic in moves. They lack a bit of patience, but by the time we got through the midway part of the year into Toronto, he really started to kind of settle in. Got a couple of podiums in very tricky conditions in Toronto. We had some rain there, and he was able to handle those situations as well. But at the start of the season, when I saw him at St. Petersburg, it just seemed like he was an entirely different kid. Just 17 years of age, really relaxed, really focused, had that year under his belt. And once that first win came, there's the confidence, there's the momentum, and that's what he's showing here this weekend. He's just so relaxed, even up on the podium. I think he obviously felt, the magnitude of the situation. But I believe the youngest driver ever to win a race here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway at just, I think, 17 years of age and 7 months. But he just seemed so calm, so relaxed. It wasn't even like he was very stressed up on victory lane either.
Well, he has looked good here again this weekend. Pato O'Ward is cruising. We are past the halfway point. 40 minutes is the time limit for this event.
Best battle on the track, really, I think, is Nico Jamin trying to see if he can't reel in Garrett Grist. He was quicker by about 1/10 of the last couple of laps. He's whittled that down to under a second now. Jamin just 9/10 of a second behind Grist for 4th position. But as it stands, it looks like our podium pretty locked, unless any kind of mechanical issues were to come in and change it. O'Ward, Telitz, and Owen, your top 3 drivers. Of course, 2 Team Pelfrey drivers planning to go back to the podium again as they did yesterday. And a Juncos driver. It was Jake Parsons yesterday. Looks to be Will Owen here today if he's able to hold on to 3rd position.
By the way, if you're joining us here at the racetrack, there are several ways you can listen, but if you're listening over the public address, the Mazda Road to Indy series has a very handy way for you to be able to follow from your home, or I found it's critical to have when you're at the racetrack.
Very true.
Out and about to get timing and scoring. Tell us about the Mazda Road to Indy TV app.
Yeah, we have a great app that you're able to get through any of the Apple Store, Amazon Fire as well. You're able to get anywhere you need to go. We have the app that's got live video, live audio. We have all connections to our social media, live timing, of course, as you said. It doesn't matter where you are. If you want to find out where everybody is, you grab that app, you download it, you flick it up, and away you go. You've got full live timing wherever you are. We get a lot of calls from guys that just plug the phone into their car when they're on a 6-hour cruise somewhere and get a chance to listen to the live play-by-play as they're cruising down the road. If you like what you see here, obviously this is the future of the Verizon IndyCar Series. These are the kids that are going to get here. Kev, we talked about the guys that are in the Verizon IndyCar program now who were in Pro Mazda, whether it be Connor Daly or Jack Hawksworth or Matthew Brabham, Gabby Chavez, just keep going down the list. Spencer Piggott, of course. Just a great development level on the way up to the Verizon IndyCar Series.
And now the opportunity through Anderson Promotions and Dan Anderson that you could always use funding, but if you're great, if you win championships, you will continue to move up with the Mazda scholarship money each year.
Yeah, Spencer Piggott's just really the absolute best example of that right now. Spencer's family does not have the funding that they would need to bring him all the way to the Verizon IndyCar Series. And he has won a number of different scholarships coming up the ranks out of Skip Barber. He was able to win the Pro Mazda Championship, which put him in the Indy Lights program. And for Spencer to be able to be victorious in the championship in his Indy Lights debut year, only his third race weekend, able to sweep it at Barber Motorsports Park. That tells you what can happen if you can really step things up here in the Indy Lights program. So Pato O'Ward in the number 80 looking to follow in the footsteps of the drivers we just mentioned and try to win a championship and move his way into the Indy Lights program. Last year's champion Santi Urrutia, already a winner in Indy Lights, just like his former champion Spencer Pigot, able to get his first race win at Barber Motorsports Park. That's 2 years in a row that the rookie Mazda scholarship winner was able to win at that race. Pato now leading by 4.6 seconds.
Under 15 minutes remaining in this 40-minute event. Race number 2 of the weekend for Pro Mazda. And Pato O'Ward looking to sweep the weekend and win for the 5th time in 6 events this year. Aaron Telitz is running faster laps right now, about 0.2 a lap, but O'Ward, barring any major issue or a caution to bunch things up, is still in control. 4.5 seconds in front. Telitz has now stretched his lead to 10 seconds over third place Will Owen. Another 9 seconds back to Garrett Grist, and that's where it bunches up. 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, all within range of each other.
You know, the thing for Pato O'Ward, we talk about how close Aaron Telitz still is in terms of the points. That's because he was able to capitalize on getting some bonus points for qualifying on the pole and turning the fastest race lap as well. Well, as things stand here now, Pato O'Ward's trying to get a full brace of points here, Kevin. He is trying to be perfect and win every bonus point possible on the pole for both races. Set the fast race lap yesterday and has the fast race lap right now as well at 1:23.2. So Pato trying to steal all of the points possible here in Indianapolis as he wants to stretch that point lead before we head to the 5/8 mile oval. The Carb Night Classic at Lucas Oil Raceway.
I love that event.
Me too.
I love that event. Seeing, a lot of people, I still get questions. Why can't IndyCar race at Lucas Oil Raceway? Well, the cars are too big, they're too powerful, and you'd also have to make safety changes at the track. But these cars, and to the layman and even to somebody that's there every weekend, they're little Indy cars.
Very true.
And
yeah.
I love watching them at that historic track, and they put on a pretty good show, and it's fantastic experience for these drivers.
Oh, most definitely. One of the things we talk about is the fact that the concept of the Mazda Road to Indy is to introduce these drivers to the skill sets they're going to need if they get to the Verizon IndyCar Series. We only take the USF 2000 drivers to one oval, and really because the car itself is probably not able to go any quicker than the 1/5/8 of a mile oval we can go at. We couldn't take them to a mile oval. The car just not safe enough at those speeds. So they do one oval in USF 2000. The Pro Mazda drivers do 2 oval races, Lucas Oil Raceway and Iowa Speedway as well. And, of course, for the Indy Lights drivers, they get the 3 ovals. They run the Freedom 100 here on the big track at Indianapolis. They run Iowa as well. And, again, we continue to keep those guys running. They ran Phoenix earlier on this year. What a great racetrack that is for those drivers. But the cool thing I love about Lucas Oil Raceway, Kevin, is the fact that if you go there for any other event, it's the normal oval racing line where they run, out of the wall at start finish. You roll it down into the apex coming through the corners. Our USF 2000 Pro Mazda cars got a little bit of downforce, and they just run around the rail. They're up on the wall all the way around the top, and you just have to be kind of amazed by what these young kids can do because they're essentially inches off the wall all the way around the racetrack to find the fast line. Under 12 minutes remaining for Pato O'Ward. And this kid is looking to try to put his name and stamp on the Pro Mazda Championship here. This would be his 5th win of the year of the 6 races we've had. The only other victor is teammate Aaron Telitz, who runs in second. But Pato now right in the position to go 5 wins and stretch that point lead out as we roll our way through the middle of the month of May. In our national class as well, Bobby Eberle in the JDC Motorsports number 13 leading the way. Turning some pretty solid laps himself, 125.3, just a tenth off Nicholas DePero. He's back by 13 seconds from Nicholas, but turning some really good laps. Bobby really has turned up his program, focused on some fitness in the offseason, and man, he came back looking good. The 48-year-old ready to race here this year, and two-time national champion, or national class champion, looking to do it again here. He won yesterday. Kevin Davis and the fellow JDC Motorsports number 44 in second, so JDC Motorsports looking to go 1-2 here in national. Bob Kaminsky in the 57 and Jay Horak in the 37 run in the third and fourth spots in the national class. But again, all eyes up front at Pato O'Ward as we're coming down to the 10-minute mark. We have been looking at that battle for fourth position as well as Nico Jamin, your reigning USF 2000 champion in the Soul Red Mazda-sponsored number 2 for Cape Motorsports, trying to close up. He's only 0.6 of a second back now. If you remember back about 5 laps ago, it was about a second. He's been able to whittle that down to just 0.6 of a second. Visibly closer on the racetrack is Grist in the 5 and Jamin in the 2, going to battle it out for fourth. Under 10 minutes remaining in Pro Mazda. So both of the Team Pelfrey drivers continue to lay down impressive laps, 123.5 for both of those drivers. They're over a second quicker than the rest of the competition. Team Pelfrey have something rolling right now, no doubt about it. They are dominant thus far. Do want to remind everyone that our Indy Lights drivers will have an autograph session at 11:30 a.m. today in the East Chalet in front of the Pagoda. So please, we'd love to have you come by and get a chance to meet these drivers just one step away from the Verizon IndyCar Series. And there are some talented drivers in that Indy Lights paddock that will be signing autographs with their hard cars today. And you have to expect that a couple of those drivers are going to be in the IndyCar program next year.
It's like baseball cards. If you collect baseball cards, it was the rookie cards that end up being the most valuable. If you can come up with something before there's someone. And with these Indy Lights drivers, yeah, just kind of take a bet on the future. And, you know, I think there's a chance that in this crop that we have more than 2 or 3. They can't all get there next year. There are just not enough seats available.
Sure, yep.
But there are legitimate 7, 8, maybe as many as 10 that have the talent. They just have to get the breaks to finish up high enough to find the backing to move to the next step to impress car owners, and there are limited seats available. But this is as deep of an Indy Lights field as we've had in a while, as evidence with 5 winners in the first 5 races, and almost had a 6th different late yesterday when Dean Stoneman took the lead with 3 or 4 laps to go. So it has been a highly entertaining season, and you should look for that race coming up today at 125. And by the way, the telecast of today's race will be next Sunday, May 22nd at 1 p.m. Eastern on NBCSN, but you can follow along live on the Mazda Road to Indy TV app.
Kevin, I couldn't agree more in terms of the drivers that we have with the talent able to make that jump into the Verizon IndyCar Series. It's some of the drivers we were able to attract this year, whether it was Dean Stoneman or the European F3 champion Felix Rosenquist. Mm-hmm. We've just got some great international drivers here as well. Santi Urrutia, of course, coming up through the ranks, winning Pro Mazda last year. He's going to follow in the footsteps of Spencer Pigot. There's a chance to make it happen. You know, R.C. Anderson's got his sights focused on a Verizon IndyCar Series ride in a couple of years. The great thing about R.C. is he's only 19 years of age. He's not in a hurry at all. He'll run another 2 years of Indy Lights if he has to. It's all about learning for R.C., winning races and getting more and more comfortable running at this level.
We're down to a little over 6 minutes remaining in this Pro Mazda event. The second step on the Mazda Road to Indy ladder, it has been all Pato O'Ward. The pole sitter has been leading by 4+ seconds for the majority of the race. It's 4.6 right now on Aaron Telitz. And then there is a wait time, 15 seconds back to Will Owen. So the Team Pelfrey cars have blown away the competition again today. Garrett Grist is in fourth. He's been locked in a battle for quite some time with Nico Jameen. He's only a half second in front of him for fourth. Jameen fifth, and Jake Parsons, Jake Edson, Nicholas DePero, Bobby Eberle, and rounding out the top 10 is Kevin Davis.
Being told that Garrett Grist, number 5, getting a warning for blocking as running a defensive line, trying to hold off Nico Jamin. So that fight for fourth continues. A little warning for Garrett. You can be sure that the race directing team will be keying on him now for a little while as Nico Jamin trying to find a way by. Both drivers turning 1:24.4s, a full second slower than Pato O'Ward. They have got that car dialed in for Pato, and he is rolling right now. He's been down there 1:23.2 to 1:23.6, about a 0.4 of a second window of the lap times he's been laying down. Drivers now working their way through some lap traffic. Aaron Telitz in the 82 going by the 57 of Bob Kaminsky. Wind stepping up a little bit here, about 14-mile-an-hour winds. As you can see the windsock up on the pylon at full mast as we are seeing some wind come across the racetrack as well here, Kevin. That'll definitely affect the way these young Pro Mazda drivers are handling the corners, of course, on the straightaways as well. The effect of the wind plays just a minor effect, really. Nothing aggressively on the corners, but, man, tough for these drivers as things continue to change.
And tough for the Cooper Tires girls on the podium getting ready for the presentation. They look cold.
I don't envy them right now. Of course, Cooper Tires girls coming to all of our events. We have unbelievable partners here in the Mazda Road Indy. Cooper Tires, of course, Mazda, Allied Building Products. Great to have Royal Purple Synthetic Oil with us now as well. Mm-hmm. They're one of our primary sponsors here this weekend, and we're thrilled to have them with us as well. It is not a warm day. At least not a warm morning. 46 degrees. We are challenging everyone here with some different conditions here on Saturday.
But it's still good to be at the racetrack.
It's always good to be at the racetrack.
We'll always take that opportunity. And we race in the rain in road course racing, but other than it being more entertaining, it's still, if you're going to be chilly, it's better to be dry. At least we're going to stay dry today.
That's a very good point. I know a lot of these drivers do love running in the rain. It's definitely a different challenge. But when the temperatures get down to where they are, I'd be more than happy for it to stay dry.
It might be sleet if it started to rain.
That's true. Pato O'Ward, folks, is looking to win his 5th Pro Mazda race of the year. 4.7 seconds, the advantage right now for Pato. Just over 3 minutes remaining in this race. And, you know, we saw a very thrilling event in Indy Lights yesterday. We talked on the radio broadcast, Kevin, about how I was down on pit lane and the hair on my arms were standing up with a call that you and Michael Young and Nick Yeoman were able to give. Those guys go back and forth. The restart was incredible. We're not having a lot to yell about here in this Pro Mazda race because Pato's just kind of making it boring for us here right now.
And the drivers are doing their job to stay on track. That's what created that last opportunity yesterday, was some mixing it up back in the pack. And a late yellow, and restarts are good. They're fun to watch.
What a lap that was.
We haven't ruled that out, although we're to the point now where there's no longer going to be a restart. If we go yellow at this point, we would finish under yellow with just a little more than 2 minutes remaining for Pato O'Ward. So less than a couple of laps. In fact, we'll see the white flag the next time by for Pato O'Ward, leading by 5 seconds on Aaron Telitz.
Tom Hansing up at the tower, going to pull that white flag out, and that is exactly what Pato O'Ward is looking for. He can hit all his marks, and he can be quick and not make any mistakes. But the other variable, Kevin, is always that race car. You're always listening near the end of a race. You're listening to the motor. You're making sure it's sounding good. It's sounding crisp. Nothing out of the ordinary, because you never know what could happen. These motorized vehicles have issues every once in a while. Pato's making sure he's holding up his end of the bargain. He's just crossing his fingers that his number 80 Team Pelfrey car is able to bring him to the finish. And that would be his 5th win of the year, hearkening back to that incredible performance by Matthew Brabham. Brabham, of course, winning I can't remember the exact number of races, 11 or 12 races, I believe, he was able to win that year, maybe even 13. He dominated the year. Everywhere we went, very similar to Pato O'Ward. He was about a second quicker, was very quick out of the box as well, always faster on cold tires. Just a dominant year for Matthew Bradman. I'm happy to see him running this year as well in the Angeles Grand Prix of Indianapolis, and of course the Indianapolis 500 as well. Great to see him aboard a Verizon IndyCar Series ride.
Pato O'Ward down the main straightaway towards turn number 1. He's seen the white flag. Less than 1 lap remaining for Team Pelfrey's Pato O'Ward, leading by nearly 5 seconds on Aaron Telitz. Looking for a clean sweep of the Mazda Road to Indy Pro Mazda weekend at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. O'Ward is through turn number 6 on the backstretch. Her heading towards turn number 7. Telitz just now exiting turn number 6. He's safely in position for a second-place finish. And 15-plus seconds back to third place, Will Owen, who is just now getting to turn 6.
First and second yesterday, and they're going to be first and second here today again. Team Pelfrey dominant thus far this year in the Pro Mazda Championship presented by Cooper Tires.